2, 1. And we're live. Hello, everybody. Welcome in.
Hello! Sorry, I was just putting out the tweet, which I probably should have did 5 minutes ago. How's it going, everybody? Oh, should I not call?
Yeah, you do.
Should I be quiet?
No, you're good. Welcome
Oh, no,
in.
you're good.
No,
Listen,
no,
we don't know what we're doing here.
It's
No,
been
I'll
111
Google
episodes,
some
and we
mystery.
honestly have no format. It's fine. We're a hot mess every time. Welcome into another episode of Morning Ritual. I'm one of your hosts, Anita. My pronouns are she, they, and down here...
That's me. I'm the other host. I'm Noir. I go by he, they. I like long walks down the park. You know, I'm a real sensitive soul, an old soul, some would say. And look, we've got a fantastic guest for you today. And they're right over there. Did I do it right?
Other side.
Right over there.
There you go.
You unveil a new guest.
Yes, every time we do it.
They're right behind you. Hi everyone, I'm Omar Najam, he, him, any, and I'm so excited to be here. This is so wonderful. What a great way to spend a morning.
Yeah, we're super excited to have you. This is like the second or third time that I've like interacted with you, and the second time I freaked out because I was like, oh, we're gonna do a whole game when Sam randomly decided to put together a charity stream like 3 days before we actually did it, and we raised like $7,000. And I have to say, every time I see you, I feel like you're raising a bunch of money for good causes.
Yeah.
So let's just jump into that real quick. I heard you're helping some writers and SAG actors. You want to talk about that?
I'm a writer's assistant, so this is in my blood. I'm just continuing my purpose that I've been put on this planet for. If one of them asks me to go grab lunch, I'm back in. It was amazing. A very good friend of mine, Rick Budd, who is the GM over at for Power Play and Q Times, was like, let's raise some cash for the WGA and SAG relief funds, and we got a great table together. Some of my favorite people on the planet. We got Carlos Cisco, who's an amazing writer, and hey man, if you want to pick up a scary shark adventure, boy, do I have the recommendation for you. Gina DeVivo, the performer of A Million Faces and Voices.
I swear, so good.
Like unfairly, like, we'll pause real quick. Unfairly good. Unfairly good. You're not allowed to min-max in real life. Like, it really is like...
So charming, so nice, and so like it just I played one game with Gina, and I'm like, it's like there's a withdrawal period.
You're so
I
right.
miss Gina's very sweet murderous robot.
Yes. Oh, it's Gina's far too good. Sandeep Parikh, who I get to host ABCD with, over in Effin' Funny, and Sandeep was hosting the charity game, which was so wonderful. And every time people were like, "Can we sub?" He's like, "Don't give your money to Bezos. we're doing a different thing today." So, and Serena Marie, who is like one of the greatest players that's ever existed. Every choice they make is unrivaled and unbelievable, so it was just a great time.
Serena is basically walking sunshine.
Yes. That's completely accurate.
Yeah.
Like Serena, like, as a hobby, just like does little doodles, and they're the most adorable things I have ever seen in my life.
It's just like every few days Serena is like, so I picked up like a new craft. And I'm just like, wait, what? How did you do that?
At what time did you do that? I'm just wondering.
And what time did you do that?
Quit casually killing it at everything.
It's just, I block out time for a thing and it doesn't happen. Like, how do you accidentally just go like, anyway, I learned Mandarin. What was your Tuesday like? I didn't know what day of the week it was.
I put on pants, and I really felt proud of myself.
And I printed out an award for myself. I have it framed.
Got a nice
Was
little sticker.
everybody in that game a member of SAG or the WGA?
I believe. Well, because I'm not. I'm SAG eligible, which is a really fancy way of saying I didn't pay $3,000. It's too much money for me. But were that to be an ongoing thing, of course, that would I would very happily hop into SAG. But and I'm also not WGA. So I know that I was holding the curve down on one end of just like coming in hot to help. And I think Rick also isn't, but it averaged out because Sandeep is both. So as everything is, my co-host, as everything's going on strike, he's just like, let's go. I'm real emotionally invested in this.
I mean, that's amazing to see, especially when on the other side of things there are people who are using this as like a way to get put on.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know how involved you are with TikTok, but there's a whole chronicle of like this guy like, it's time to scab, I'm gonna be king of the scabs, and it's just like, why
King of
though?
the Scabs is such a 1990s Disney villain move, right? Like that's
He kind of
like
looks like a 19th villain if you think about it. But it's just like it's in a world where people are willing to just wrap themselves up in awful to get followers and all that kind of stuff. It's great to see people going out of their way to be, help.
Yeah.
Thank you. I mean, I'll say this because I've been, hop on the picket lines all the time, and Cisco's studio is Disney. That's the lot that he's strike captain of, and I love to just go and join a bunch of my friends there, and it's tough. It's very scary. The studios are doing a terrible job at running businesses, and because the thing is, people are just like, you don't have to be kind. I'm like, yeah, I understand that, but you can't drill your business into the ground. Like, you just can't do that. It doesn't work that way. But I will say this just so everyone knows, this is like for sure the healthiest writers have ever been. I won't speak on SAG's behalf, but the WGA were just like, we're getting some steps in. Someone sent over fruit? Okay, let's go.
Yeah, they're being forced to touch grass.
On the Pride event at WB, I went, do I have it here? Let me look. I swear to God I do. It's somewhere. But I was just in line for free empanadas because someone was so wonderful as to donate an empanada truck. And then this wonderful, kind soul came up and went, do you want a crystal? And it was just a bunch of crystals that were carved into hearts. There was one that was shaped like it was a heart, and it was the Ace flag colors, and I was like, can I take this one? And she was like, absolutely. And I was like, yo, this is the best experience I've ever had in LA. Like,
I mean, there's been a lot of creators, actors and writers have been going online talking about like Stephen D. Knight, which is one of my favorite showrunners, the showrunner for season 1 of Daredevil, and I believe he did Spartacus as well. Just two of my all-time favorite shows.
Yeah.
Was talking about how, like, I think his residuals were like $300. That's not even a PlayStation, dog. Like if you make one of the coldest comic book character TV shows and the residuals can't even get you a PlayStation, something is wrong.
I saw someone do their residuals. I think it was someone from Orange is the New Black did their residuals.
Yes.
And they had residuals in the negatives. It was like minus
Studio's
20
like,
cents.
Hey fam, get right up them
Yeah.
dimes for being on our show.
Yep. We do this for exposure.
Right?
I think this is what happens when the exposure bucks go too far. When I was doing stand up in music, everybody was like, "Oh, this will be great for your career. There's gonna be a lot of eyeballs," and I'm like, "But can I buy a big chicken afterwards?" Like, that's all I want.
Getting
Man,
is great. Getting paychecks, though, let me tell you, it changes the game. It kind of changes your expectations.
I mean, no, you can't have the paychecks. All the paychecks go to this guy who signs the email, I guess. I don't know.
There
Like,
was, yeah, there was just an article about. Let's get into it. It's very ritual. Let's go.
That's good.
There was an article about Zaslav that was just like, hey Zaslav, just like a cool guy, and it was like he was on his yacht, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna stop you there. We're one sentence in, and I got notes.
It's unreasonable how much I hate Zamla.
Anytime anybody brings up their yacht, I immediately glaze over. I lose all interest.
Mm-hmm.
This is the motherfucker that made the decision to shelve Batgirl.
Yes. Yeah.
And to let the Flash rock.
And was like, no, I saw it. It doesn't look that good, so we're pushing forward the Flash.
It's
okay.
a completed movie.
Okay.
It was done. It had Brendan Fraser in it, playing a veteran who got screwed out of his benefits, and so he becomes Firefly. And Michael Keaton Batman is in that one too. Anyway,
Well, where's the Kickstarter for that heist to grab that hard drive?
Yeah.
oh, I think the thing that breaks my heart though is I watched the interview with the director and the writer of that movie, and they didn't know that it was being shelved. And so once they found out, they went to their drive where they have all the film stuff, and it was white. They don't even have the film. And I'm like, could you imagine dedicating like that much of your life to a project and then it's just gone one day?
I can't. Like, I've accidentally deleted a bunch of my own stuff, and that's on me. Like, that's when I'm just like, yeah, well, I should have.
But imagine somebody with the face of Zavlon
just taking it. Let's put this in the universe. You know how like when you think of a creative idea and you're like, oh no, now someone else is gonna do it. Let's actually throw this out here. I don't want to be too shady, but what if it was saved? And we just need a little bit of alibi time. You know what I mean? Where it's just like, hey, I said it in print, and then one day it's out.
We just need one hero in WB. We need one person that's just like, you know what? Fuck it.
I want like a dark garage situation. I want we're just like lit by just like the end of a cigarette of just like, hey, do you need the Batgirl?
I got that Batgirl.
Trench coat and a fedora.
Nope, don't come too close.
I'll put the Batgirl on the ground. You put the money in my hand, and then we walk away.
Oh wow, 27 cents, huh? This is a tough town. It's a tough town.
But I mean, it sounds like it in a very weird way. It does sound like this is somewhat healthy for LA, in the sense that I'm seeing a lot more people coming together. Chicago just started their strikes. It started in Millennium Park.
There you go.
Yesterday. Thursday.
You march by the bean. It looks like there's twice as many people.
All the tourists.
Yo, I hate that fucking bean so much. But the one thing that I love is that everybody calls it the bean, and that pisses the artists off so much. It's not the bean, it's the cloud gate. Shut the fuck up. It's the bean.
I've seen clouds and I've seen beans. I know which one this is.
This is a big old silver bean.
I mean, honestly, fuck Anish Kapoor.
Did he try to
he took it
buy the color black?
He took
Yes.
it was a specific tone of black. It was like the blackest black. He bought all of it and then trademarked it.
Man, black folks can't have nothing.
But then the creator of that realized what he was doing and then made a blacker black.
That's it. That's how you do it, folks. That's science.
There's a
I
couple
feel like we're
colors that
Breaking
he
Bad right now.
copyrighted himself. Like there's a pink, I think, that he copyrighted or trademarked. Also, did you know Barbie pink is trademarked?
Yeah, because they ran out of it, right?
Yeah.
In the world? Am I wrong?
They used up so much pink on the Barbie sets that there was an international pink shortage.
We got 2 heists. We got 2 heists that we're planning.
We got to take the Batgirl. We got to take the
We got
pink.
Batgirl, we got to save the color pink.
And these are the kind of amazing productions we would have if motherfuckers would just pay right. It's really funny. It's really funny to see how things are slowly starting to change, but the studios are working real hard to make it so you don't notice the change. Like, there's a Disney movie that's coming out or has come out, and because no actor can walk the red carpet, they had
it was Haunted Mansion.
I've got a rant about Haunted Mansion.
Oh, I want to hear this.
The ride or the...
Okay, list the Haunted Mansion things you know right now.
Okay.
The ride or the what?
Oh, I see. I thought you wanted us to go because I have a book on the attraction. So I was about to take up an hour.
Oh my
time.
god!
So
there's the ride and there's the movie, right?
Yeah.
And there's the movie. This is the second Haunted Mansion movie, and everybody just like forgot about the Eddie Murphy one.
Eddie Murphy, not only real estate agent, which is a perfect choice for a Haunted Mansion protagonist. Not only that, but 2, it introduced Trader Sam's into the cinematic universe, which is the tiki bar right outside Disneyland. And they turn and they go, "Hey Sam, 2 more of these drinks," which means that the bartender is Sam of Trader Sam's. Changed everything for me. Watching that movie changed everything for me. That was bigger than the moon landing for me, I'll be honest with you. Technology, I was like, we've peaked. We have a real Trader Sam behind the bar.
I was so confused because I don't watch TV, and like it's either TikTok, reading, or sleep. And so like when I saw like, hey, they're doing the red carpet for Haunted Mansion, I'm like, that movie came out years ago. What the fuck are we talking about? And they're like, no, like, you know, the person that I talked to was like my a good friend of mine. He was like, no, they got the black dude from that movie. I'm like, yeah, Eddie Murphy. Yeah. He's like, no, the other black dude. Yeah, I'm like, what? First off,
no, that was all
why do black people keep going to the Haunted Mansion? Second, that's not where we should be.
That's a good point, though. Hold on, they need to reflect that in the attraction. They need to update this and be like, just so y'all know, this is a house that is this is a house for black people, and and everyone else, you're allowed, but like you do need to acknowledge like going into this.
And it looks plantation-y as fuck. I'm just saying. So, but I'm just like,
we gotta write a letter to Disney. Like Owen Wilson, fine. You like obviously you're privileged. You can stroll right in without any concerns, sir.
But here's the thing here's why I'm so mad about it. The movie's just called Haunted Mansion.
Yeah.
The Eddie Murphy movie is just called Haunted Mansion.
Yeah.
Are we just what happened? I feel like I'm far more invested in the Haunted Mansion cinematic universe than Disney is.
Can I ask you this question?
Yes.
How excited will you be if there is a crossover where Eddie Murphy's like, you can always take my way out?
Yo, listen, if I see the movie and Eddie Murphy pops up, I'm gonna be the only one that freaks out like it's a Marvel crossover.
I'm just looking at the version. So they released it like 20 years ago.
Don't tell me that. Don't tell me that.
It released on my birthday in 2003.
Happy belated.
Jesus.
20 years ago.
Oh, that hurt. That fucking stung.
And don't forget, apparently Fluffy Butt has reminded us that there was a Muppet Haunted Mansion that came out in 2000.
That's true. Kermit was Piggy and Piggy was Kermit, and that's relationship goals right there. That was it, right? That's when they dressed up as each other, or what?
I don't know. I haven't watched that one.
If Eddie Murphy didn't pop up in that Haunted Mansion movie, I refuse to acknowledge it.
Every day you go to IMDb and you delete that credit.
Listen, if they came out with a Pirates of the Caribbean movie and didn't at least acknowledge Jack Sparrow or Orlando Bloom or what, I get Orlando Bloom confused with
Orlando Jones
all the time.
Hey, you want to know a quick way to really improve the Pirates franchise?
Yeah. But it's just like, if they came out with a Pirates of the Caribbean movie and didn't acknowledge it, I feel like everybody would feel like, one, you're not pulling the wool over my head, Disney, and two, that's mad disrespectful for the people that came before. So why are we just letting them disrespect Eddie Murphy like this? It's not right.
You know what? I'll say this. Okay, can I throw this out there? Because
Yes.
there's going to be a new Pirates, and they weren't going to they weren't going to gaslight us into thinking there wasn't a previous franchise.
That's what it is. I feel gaslit.
It wasn't going to be a personal attack. But they were gonna make it with Margot Robbie.
Yeah.
And right, so now do we get a Margot Robbie Eddie Murphy film where it's any of the other rides? Any of the other rides, if they want to do a Thunder Mountain starring Margot Robbie and Eddie Murphy. If we want to do Rivers of America starring Margot Robbie and Eddie Murphy.
But they have to play the characters that they were originally gonna be. So It's
Okay.
Eddie Murphy's character from Haunted Mansion and Margot Robbie as whatever pirate she was gonna be. Oh, Space Mountain, let's go!
So it's ready for blast off. Have you ever done this before? I'm a pirate.
And I'm good at getting out of mansions. Let's go!
What would that be? Really quick, and then we'll move on, but really quick. So it's a Space Mountain movie.
Yeah.
All we need to do to justify this, it's just gotta be in space. So great. One's a pirate. I feel like this is starting to lend itself. So we've got sort of like a Titan AE, Treasure Planet sort of situation going on with Margot Robbie. I appreciate that. What's Eddie Murphy? Because Eddie Murphy in that movie is a real estate agent, his marriage is on the rocks, a father.
I don't know if
neglecting
he makes it
his
out of
son
that
and
movie
daughter.
alive.
So he takes the family on a vacation,
Here we go.
Yeah.
Here we go.
and they stop at a sinister mansion that Jim has been asked to sell.
As you do.
It's the first space house.
Haunted Space Station.
Are we just making Pluto Nash 2? Ray, they want.
Yeah. And now it is. Yeah. And is it a backdoor pilot for the series? Yes.
Oh, and it's haunted by the ghost of Margot Robbie's pirate because they brought some sort of illicit treasure to the space station.
Because that's canon in the
Now
Pirates
there's pirates
universe.
in space. Incredible.
Now we got ghost pirates.
Ghost pirates in space.
Hey, folks. I just want you to know this was the best development session I've ever been a part of.
Listen, we're nothing if not here for free ideas that never go anywhere.
And if you want to know why you should pay writers, it's because this is what amateurs do. Like a real writer would be like, no.
No, but what's the story? And we're like, no, we gave it to you.
This is a turn your brain off kind of flick. Like this is pure popcorn. This is popcorn.
Yeah.
Is what this is.
I need someone to hit up that TikTok scab king and be like, "Now I watched some real artists play today."
No, he's more interested in verite films. You don't understand.
Wait, what?
He's like, I even have that verite tattooed on my arm because of how serious I am about verite films like Schindler's List, a SAG production, and Mel Gibson personally funding The Passion of the Christ. Mel Gibson did that with union money.
I don't know if he knows what the word means. I don't mean to flex
And
my
I think
film
that it's
degree
very
here.
offensive that scab is the term that you use for people that go against unions.
I'm
This
saying that on the internet.
this man looked at the camera with a very serious face. It said, "I'm not afraid of Hollywood because you've got to deal with me and God."
Someone watched his YouTube shorts that were allegedly Christian horror productions and had a very hard time figuring out where the Christ came into the whole equation.
Amazing. Now that is a swing. Imagine saying something's a musical, there's no music. Like, that's incredible.
It's like,
Okay.
the guy,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, give him. Let's do this. Give him $15. Let's see what happens.
Apparently, some like Christian streaming service reached out to him to give him a show, and I'm just like, I'm sick of seeing shitty people win.
Yeah.
What's the streaming? We don't have to advertise them.
Oh no, he did mention it. It's not out. Basically, it sounds like it's just like some streaming service that's going to exist purely on the strength of making content that's anti-woke.
That. First of all, that's a lot of streaming services already. That's the fight we're fighting. Second of all.
Pretty much.
Second of all, that sounds like the most fun place to be. That sounds like some really great content.
Yeah, I can't wait for it. I can't wait for Left Behind 67. Still left.
Jesse, we have to make drugs, Jesse. We have to make science drugs. Also, no diversity, Jesse. Really great. It's gonna be a really good show.
Are you reading about Black history? Ugh.
Jesse, no. We have to get back to the drugs, Jesse. Don't.
Okay. I suppose we should start doing the interviewing thing.
Yeah, that's probably like I love these diverse. Listen, the show generally has no format, and usually
It really does.
Honestly, when Sam was on, we talked about why the X Mansion doesn't have ramps for 2 hours.
Yes.
And it doesn't. And that's so upsetting. I after that conversation, I read a bunch of X-Men comics just to see if I could find one ramp. And Professor X was like, "Y'all need to get better chairs, dog. you gotta flex like me." Just floating upstairs.
He's a real classy guy. Real classy guy.
Oh.
How'd you build yours? Shiar technology. What?
Oh, you're not girlfriend.
Also,
you're not the boyfriend of the space empress. Need to step your game up, dog.
Couldn't be me.
Also, that wheelchair's not going to fit through any standard door frames.
No.
You gotta have enough money to buy rich guy door frames. Is the problem. Professor X is the James Zaslav of the music world.
He hits a button and it just slowly just expands, just for his Shiar technology.
All right, so here's a couple of questions.
Let's go.
You've been on quite a few impressive TTRPG actual play productions.
Thank you.
I have to ask, do you have any special memories of your time over at each one of them? I'm gonna say, do you have any special memories at Dimension 20 or Critical Role or anything like that? Anything that you care to share with our audience?
Hold up. Let me.
Yeah.
Let's go. Let me pop through a couple, and I'm not going to be indulgent. I'm not going to take up too much of your time. One of them, though, I will be turning around to grab a prop.
Feel free.
But as we build up, I will say I'll pick like three favorites real quick. One I have to say is Power Play over at Q Times. With you've had many previous members of that show on.
I think I've had all of them except for Rick.
That's right.
We gotta jump Rick.
Hey, if you need his phone number, let me know. Because the second you complete it, you get a coupon.
It's funny because I do a couple of shows on Q Times now. Now Althaven.
That's
Congrats
right.
to them on that.
Yes. That's correct. My apologies. Yeah.
Oh no. I mean,
I was there at
It's
Comic-Con
not
when
me
this
you gotta
was
fight
announced.
about that. But and like we'll do these shows, and folks will still come in and just kind of mention power play, and I'm like, that's where the bar is. That's where the bar. Yeah, okay, yeah.
So you were saying memories at Power Play?
We after every. I mean, you're talking about it's because that show changed my life. After every episode, we would it's a 3-hour show, and sometimes we'd go over, and then we would hang out for like another 2 hours at least on Discord and just hang out like every single week. And it's almost like that's when you really like your friends.
Yeah.
I got to be on a one-shot at Critical Role, and it was such a wonderful time. I had a really, really good time, but I was in, I was in hair and makeup with Marisha, and who I'd never met before. And I said, like, hey, we're both playing Rito. Would it be okay if we knew each other? Just as like a fun sort of thing to kind of cook in. And instantly she was like, what if we're exes? And I was like, oh, is that all right? Like, oh, you're famous though. Like, like you're a world-class like TTRPG player. Like that's such like a strong bond. Like, are you cool with that being like, your choice at the table? Like, this is the thing we're gonna do.
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, let's go for it. I didn't say all those words because that would have been real awkward. I was just like, are you sure? And she was like, yeah. And so we did, and it was just but it was just that moment of like being invited in from someone who you admire and look up to so much, for that person to be like, I mean, she was playing a bird, so to be like, let me take you under the wing in a little bit and like, let's go. And that to me is my favorite thing about TTRPGs, is that essence of let's go. And I'm gonna give you 2 for Dimension 20 real quick.
Okay.
One, in the green room every day that we were on set, Lou would turn to somebody and say, what was the first album you bought? And then we'll put it on. And so we got to know everyone's like taste in music as teenagers.
Oh my gosh.
And it was just like such a beautiful Lou thing to do, of just like checking in with people without being like, I'm a people person. It was just like, he just did it so frequently that I was like, this is so sweet, and you're asking for nothing in return. This is amazing.
That is so sweet. Can I ask what your album was?
Mine was a tie, which is wild. Mine was a tie I bought at Tower Records from an $8 bin. It's a tie between Green Day's Dookie.
That's a good one.
And Lit Atomic. And I remember when I bought Lit Atomic, and there are probably a lot of people who don't know Lit Atomic. You could Google it. It's just like this rockabilly sort of like 1950s vibe. And I remember as a kid being like, when I grow up, I'm gonna play rockabilly music, go bowling, and drink martinis. And that was my goal. I was like, I want to be that. That's what I want to do with my life.
Noir, what's yours?
I was hoping you wouldn't ask that. It's Mace's Harlem World.
Yes. Yes. Yes, yes, yes.
Nice.
Yes, yes, yes. Have it yours.
Mine was, oh crap, what's the name of the band again?
If it's LMFAO, I'll laugh.
So it was Len's 1999 album Go, and you would remember Len because they were a one-hit wonder band that sang Steal My Sunshine. It was
Steal My Sunshine.
That
I bought it on
album is good. That's amazing. Was it the single or was it?
Album,
No, it's the album. Yeah. That's incredible.
My Harlem World was also cassette.
Y'all showing me up. This is amazing. one of my favorite things to do to people as we're driving back from, like, if a group of us have gone out to like a bar or something, and some people are just like in a very elevated, happy state, for example, is to be like, do you remember that song "Steal My Sunshine"? Like, yeah, okay, and I'll throw on Android True Connection's More, and go like, okay, wait for it, because they came up with that sample. They were at like a rave or a disco or something, and that came on, and there's just one, like, you'll start to hear it in the song and you're like, okay, and then everything stops and it's just that boom ba-da, boom ba-da. And when they heard it, like, one of the singers was having like an emotional breakdown and heard that and went, actually, hold up, I think I have the idea for a number one hit. And just took that sample. So yeah, pull that up, because the second you get to that, dopamine up.
Jokingly, I thought about getting the Wild Wild West album.
There it is.
Listen, that album banged. I'm sorry, I bought that one too.
I was mistaken. So Steal My Sunshine and Len, that was the album was actually called Can't Stop the Bum Rush. That was the name of the album. That's right. Go was the soundtrack that it was on. It was featured on.
For the film. Yeah. So did you have the soundtrack, or did you?
No, I actually had Can't Stop the Bum Rush by Len.
Would you like the Go soundtrack?
I mean,
we can make this happen.
Listen, that album was so good, though. Like, Hot Rod Monster Jam was actually a really good song. It's a bop still to this day.
And you had it on cassette. Do you still have it on cassette?
I've probably lost it several moves ago, or it was in what my parents lovingly referred to as Chicago, because it was where things went to disappear.
Wait, time out. What?
It's so my parents had a storage shed like in the yard that my mom would call Chicago, because it's where things went to disappear.
Oh,
that's amazing.
And then I moved to Chicago, so.
Can you get a little model of the bean and put it in the shed?
And put it in the shed. I'll send it to my dad, and he can put it.
Oh,
if
only we could get rid of it.
Build up an actual Chicago representation, and like if we could get like a couple rivers flowing through the Opera House, like.
Yeah.
But to bring us back, that you said you had two memories from To Make You Tweet.
Let me get the prop 1 second.
Absolutely.
All right, so we got we have Random Columbia House Records. Big Willie Style was Nicky's.
Hey, listen, that one has some bops on it.
Okay,
Nah. Get jiggy with it.
That's a fantastic album.
It's a good album.
As you tune in to say, that's a fantastic album. So the second one, real quick, is getting to play with Brennan in general. Brennan was my coach for the longest time when I was doing improv. And so when we were wrapping up, Abria was like, you want to steal anything? And so I stole a token that came from when we had an interaction and just wasn't thinking. And I was just like, did you ever think, Brandon, all those years ago when you were my improv coach, that this would happen? And it was just like such a wonderful, I don't know, I'm satisfied when like things connect in the real world. Like when you do it at a table and you're just like, ooh, we threaded that plot line. It is so satisfying and wonderful. When you do it when it happens to you outside, because like when Brandon was my coach, he had to leave because he was like, I'm going to produce a show over at College Humor. We're trying D&D. And we were like, oh, that's awesome, man. Well, good luck. And lo and behold, it was Dimension 20. It's what he went off to go do.
So that begs the question: was he your improv coach while he was at College Humor? Because
it was we got him in the in between times when he was just like, I guess like I'm mostly just focusing on like UCB stuff. And I've mentioned this 100 times before, but I love saying it. But this is 111th episode, so we got to go one more time. When he was my coach for improv, he used D&D to explain concepts in improv, and like the idea of pacing, and would use like the mechanics to be like, and this is like good storytelling is this is why you can't burn through a joke like this, like think of it as like initiative, and stuff like that. So
Hi Sam, I love you too.
Yes, good morning.
He loved one whole Sam every day, all day.
I had a dream last night where I declared my love loudly and proudly for Sam DeLev.
Good. We have to do it. Okay, we as a community have to do it more often.
It's true.
Can I just say, we as a community have to do it more often.
So just tell if you see a Sam DeLev, tell Sam DeLev that you love them.
Mm-hmm.
I will not rest until all up in the knee to Thanos.
They snap their fingers and turn half the universe queer.
I'm just imagining Sam at the end of Infinity War, just like taking a nice breath, just like I did good, but it's true. Like,
just rainbow flags everywhere.
Just everybody, instead of like ash, it's glitter.
It's so good, and they don't leave. They're more here than they've ever been.
So
I do need to share with you both. My
yes.
roommate just texted me and said I left something on your door, and it's just a sticker that says "Your Ace." That's hilarious.
We just got hit with that, and then Sam Cohen, fine, I'll LGBTQ it myself. Double whammy.
That's it. The Mafia is psychically connected. Everyone's on the game today. This is very good. This is very, very good. But yeah, those are my favorite memories on shows. Can I throw the question back at you both of like what's been like a moment for you that you're like, this is why I will do this until you have to drag me away from it?
Mine actually has to tie into the first time that Noir and I met.
Yeah, I was gonna say meeting Anita was definitely.
Oh, this is beautiful. Both of you, go on.
So we got the actual play didn't go anywhere because people were jerks. But our
I'm
first,
so sorry.
we met together in my character's session 0, and we played a. I was captured by Shadar Kai, and Noir was the jailer. And we had like these back and forths between our characters about like how how their god was wrong, like, but their god's the Raven Queen, or they kept saying the matron. Well, the matron's wrong, but Noir was referring to a literal goddess, and I was like just thinking like, oh, it's like a mom figure. That's cool. But like by the end of the session, we had been back and forth, and like my character was set to be sacrificed, but something went wrong. Sorceress, wild magic surged, blew everything up with a fireball. And
of course,
Noir brings me back and is like, rolls a nat 20 on the medicine check to save me, and then it's just like, okay, you're not supposed to be here. And then I said, well, okay, get me some shoes then, because they took my shoes away so that I couldn't run. And Noir was like, my character's a cobbler. That was
I added it just like thinking nothing of it.
Of course. When you're like, when the brewer's tool is going to come into use? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So that was the proficiency he gave his monk, and I was like, well, are you gonna make me some shoes then? He's like, I surely can. Let's do it. And I think you also rolled a nat 20 on the shoes.
So to explain it, we had
these are crit kicks.
They were some fresh shoes. I'm not even gonna lie. We had 2 different session 0s, and Anita essentially had theirs first, and then I had mine. I didn't choose to play a Shadar Kai. The GM was like, "Hey, I need somebody to play a Shadar Kai, and you're going to essentially be working with this evil cult, and you're you're the jailer for one of these prisoners, and I need you to treat them poorly. And I'm just like, I agree with most of that, not all of it.
Yeah.
So like, and just to kind of give you the mindset of the individual running the show, it was very much a we're gonna be the next Critical Role type person. And I'm like, I just want to play a game, dude. So like, things had already been established in Anita's one shot, which is they get taken to do this ritual against them, and then bad things happen.
Right.
And I was just like, by the time the bad things happen, my character has kind of grown close enough to like, I don't want to see this person die. So it gets to the part where the ritual happens. Anita's character blows up, and essentially what the plan was is they were going to be introduced in the first episode, severely wounded and need to be saved by the party. My character goes, well, nah. Can I attempt to do a medicine check just to try to help him out? It's like, okay, but unless you roll a 20, nothing is really gonna happen. I'm like, all right, harder cards, let's do it. So I roll a natural 20. I'm able to heal them up, and then I'm like, I kind of want this character to escape because this is all bad stuff, and I'm starting to get the inkling that this cult is misconstruing what my deity actually wants.
Right.
So can I help them get out? And that's when it was the place is surrounded by briars and thorns and stuff. They won't be able to get out,
right,
unless they have shoes. And I'm just like, look at the character sheet they need.
Let's go. There were some fresh picks too.
They were. So he actually took pieces of his tunic, and the Shatterkai get a special kind of sword, and he took his scabbard, broke it apart to make the shoes. And the only weapon he was
scabbard.
Yeah. That's what he made it out of. And the only weapon that he could give was one of his darts. So he gave her one of his darts. And long story short, I ended up having to leave that game. But even at the end of it, when I introduced him in another game, he only ever had 9 darts because he still is missing the one. And that's just like, it's like a little thing.
That's like a reward.
Hey y'all, you want the storytelling? You want to hear some good storytelling?
So that I think that's the moment that me and Lita were kind of like, hey, I think I might like you.
I might like playing games with you, and I think I want to keep doing that if that's cool with you.
It's amazing.
And the only other memory that I have that really is just like, oh, this is why I'm going to keep doing actual plays forever, is I was in I have to get better at saying this, Althaven, and we had a Star Wars show. It was run by Eric. It was me, Sam, Gina, and oh my
Lindsay.
god, yes. And it was really fun. And at the end of the season, my character kind of looks like he bites it. Like, we won't know what happens until the next season. But I saw randomly on Twitter somebody talking about their favorite Black Star Wars characters, and they mentioned my character, and I was just like, I can't kill him now. I can't let him be dead now.
Damn, you heard it here first. Stucky lives.
Yep.
It's weird when somebody kind of shows you like, hey, your representation.
Yeah.
So
and you're
yeah.
like, all right, gloves back on. Let's go.
Ready to come in with a new character? Nah.
No.
Your
Pull the
X-Wing
mask
has
off.
a hyperdrive.
I'm like, damn, even JJ didn't kill the black
Also,
guy.
Kate
Like,
was in chat yelling at you to get love, dummy.
no.
Yes.
Um, so I think, Dina, did you have another one, or I have another question to ask? Unless you have another memory that you'd like to share with us.
Ooh, other than that, there's a couple, like, a lot of them are tied to your GMing, and, like, I'd
It's all
say,
checks.
like, Yenna in meeting the ancestor who held the sword before her.
Homer Simpsoning out of frame. Yeah, yeah.
Because that was just such a cool moment where it was just like, oh no, I actually have to fight this being that is, like, so much stronger than me, and what I have is not enough. Or when I dropped down from Warlock and then gained the levels in Paladin, I'd say that was it too.
Just a quick explanation of context. Your Yenna's character was a paladin.
Mm-hmm.
Who,
I was a Warlock first.
Well, no, I'm talking about the second thing though.
Okay.
And the character had gotten to a point where they were consistently kind of asking for assistance from the divine.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And their character had essentially what is the Holy Avenger. And in my world, the Holy Avenger holds within it a portion of the souls of everyone that has wielded it before. So Yenna's character was getting ready to face a pretty big bad. It was calling on the aid of the divine.
I died.
And then you went to fight, and then you died. And so your soul joined the rest of the souls in the sword, and each paladin who had wielded the blade before went, quit asking for help, you got everything you need, you can do this. And they all fought, one after the other to kind of show, like, no, you're tougher than you think you are.
Yes.
But you have to let go of expecting help. You are all the help you need. So after fighting all of the paladins all the way to the first person to wield the blade, the first paladin to wield the blade went, all right, now you're ready. And revived Yenna. And Yenna picked the sword up and got to fighting, and it went much better.
It changed from
folks.
Oath of Devotion to Oath of Vengeance, also mechanically.
Yeah.
Remember
Vengeance
earlier when I was
better.
like, good storytelling? You want some good storytelling? I'm glad you stuck around. I'm glad you stuck around. If that's something you're into, I'm glad you stuck around, because that's
Hell yeah.
amazing.
I love stuff like that. Like, and that kind of brings me to my next question, which is, there was a discourse this week. It got stupid, like discourse tends to do on Twitter, but I think that there is some good advice to be gained from us asking the question, which is, we tend to see a lot of the same faces on a lot of the actual plays that have
Right.
more exposures, like your Dimension 20s, your Critical Roles. Like, they're kind of siphoning cast members. And my question at this point is, having sat at quite a few tables that have that level of exposure, one, how did you find yourself there? Two, while you're there, what is expected that probably wouldn't be expected at an average table? And three, what advice would you give anyone to, like, prepare themselves for that?
That's a very good. These are very, very good questions. Like, 'cause I like Kaylee in this show, I'll be like, for that first one, I'm not sure. I just like buckled in. But like, it's I have been like kind of up in the spot for like such a long time, in the sense that like I've gotten to know a lot of people, which is wonderful. I was like a geek and sundry vlogger back in the day.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. My roommate and I had a channel called Two Broke Geeks, and it was just like we had no money. And it's like, and still like we're, everything's shut down, but like so anyway, it just in terms of like I think a huge element was I got to know a lot of people over time. I think is probably like the biggest like boon that I've had. And you meet these wonderful people who are just so nice and giving with their time and energy, and you meet people who aren't, and you kind of just like, nah, I don't need to hang out with them. And then suddenly someone, like for example, you know, with Brandon's like, I gotta pop off and go produce this show, sorry guys, I'll be really busy, and then it's Dimension 20. So I think that like I've just gotten very lucky. Like I wish that I had a better answer for that, but in terms of like a greater scheme of things, maybe if I was to like try to give you a good answer instead of just like, oh man, I don't know.
You mind if I interject here for a
Oh
second?
please, yes.
So, there's two things. One, I just looked and I was subscribed to Two Broke Geeks. It sounded familiar when you said it, and I think there was a video that y'all put up that I disagreed with about DC.
Was it the DC versus Marvel debate?
I think so.
Yeah.
Like I remember getting ready to comment real hard on that. But two, I think that saying that luck plays a part in getting selected is something that is true and overlooked a lot by folks.
Yeah.
I mean, from the sounds of it, you didn't really have any control over being selected. You were just picked. And you would have to be a fool, I say, to say no to that. And two, the other thing is, it's very easy for people to see, like, hey, you're going to be on this show and that show, and not see the work that got put in ahead of time. I'm going to be real with you. I knew of Two Broke Geeks. I didn't know that was you. So, like, it's looking back on it, that's years of work that people can look at to go, okay, consistency, quality, that kind of stuff, and then select. I think the internet has a way of seeing people get selected and overlooking all of that and just seeing the look part and
seeing
going,
the
why
result,
not
the
me?
work.
That's yeah. Like it's my favorite kind of thing to point to. I guess like there's two, but I'll keep to the one that's I think the most shocking and interesting because my background's in film. Like I'm a film guy, and like when people are like Quentin Tarantino came out of the gate with Reservoir Dogs. That's amazing. That's the kind of stories we tell ourselves because they're so interesting and exciting and sexy, right? Like it's just like like the wunderkind of it all. Whereas like Reservoir Dogs was not Quentin Tarantino's first movie, it was his fourth. You know what his first three were? You don't, because he deleted them. When I was turning 30, I was really stressed because I was like, so many of my favorite filmmakers had made movies before, and I haven't made a feature. This is so stressful. And then I just recorded 2 hours worth of footage, put it together, exported it, and went, great, there it is, feature. And I deleted all of it. I was like, I don't want that to haunt me, be over my head. And so you're completely right. Like, I do think that it's not just that, but it's also like, it's so much of it is like people who have been around who are just like, it's not overnight, I think is like a big element. But also it's I think you can tell when people are in the spot that they're in. And I think that those stages, I mean, it's different for folks who are like literally running those shows or on those casts and are just like, it's hard for me to go to Comic-Con without a mask. Like, that's a very different experience. But like, if you're doing a thing you really enjoy on a deep, personal, artistic level, you'll get to pop up on something and continue to do what you're doing just in front of different cameras, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
No,
and
writers have that sort of concept too of like where you put something together and then it's called a trunk novel, where you write.
Hold up, run me through this.
So,
this is interesting.
Novelists talk about trunk novels a lot of the time, where it's like you have a whole written book that you're like, I probably won't be able to publish this, so it's just going to sit in a trunk and it's going to collect dust. Is that same sort of concept? Is like, this is what I need to write to get out of my system before I write the next thing that it will be better, that will get published.
Yeah.
Gotta get the garbage.
Yeah, sometimes you just gotta get it out. Like, because sometimes what you're gonna write is gonna, or what you're gonna produce is not gonna be your best work, and you're never gonna
Yeah.
get it right on the first try. So you're gonna
Yeah.
you're gonna get the trunk novel out of your system, and put it off to the side so that you can put out the next thing.
I love that. Oh, trunk novel. All right, I'm gonna fill some trunks with some novels.
You mind if I ask another question here?
Sure.
Are you a LA native?
No, I'm from. So this to other people from outside of California. This will sound like not that big of a deal, but I assure you it is. No, I'm from the Bay Area originally.
Okay.
And it's okay. Like, it's this show. We can do this. It's wild to me. Like, let's be real for a second. I'm just gonna drop this sort of like Hall H. Like, let's the microphone voice, the NPR-ness of it all. Like, I'm trashed from San Jose. Like, it's hard for me to explain to people. And then I took two of my closest friends to San Francisco. One of our short films was in a film festival, and so we were running through San Francisco, and it got so bootsy at night. Like, it's just like you have to know how to navigate. And at the end, I was just like, oh, so this is like, what I did as a kid. And like, so to me, it's wild. And I remember I was telling Brendan something where I was just like, this is a great train I got to hop on, and at some point, the track's gonna end, and I'm gonna go, thank you all so much, it's been a pleasure, I really appreciate it. I'm gonna go back up north and just like hang around some comic book shop and be some Kevin Smith like background character, you know what I mean? Like, that's of just like, I wonder who punches harder, Superman or Thor, and then that's my day, like. So
I mean, currently I would have to say it's Thor because he's got the Phoenix Force and the Odin Force, but
and you'd be right. Can you come up and tell the guys at the shop? 'Cause I've been trying to hold down the fort.
Oh, there's nothing better for the soul than a good old fashioned comic book shop argument. Like, it gets toxic, yes, but like, it's like any medicine. The right amount will do you good. Too much, it'll kill you.
Yep.
But that right amount, that's why I love, oh my God, Gail Simone so much, because she knows how to trigger the internet into a good old fashioned comic book store fight.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I guess someone would be like, who's the next person who should get a Green Lantern ring? And just sit back, and then like every so often just dive in and just clock someone, knock them out of the round.
Just calling Cyclops its optic blast heat vision. Oh my God, the way, the rage.
Concussive force from the punch dimension.
But
this is Chaos Magic Wanda. Like, the way that Gail Simone operates.
oh, it's just my favorite kind of troll. But no, the reason that I asked the LA question is because I honestly, like I said, the discourse this week got real stupid. In terms of like talking about those action plays, and so what the other thing people were saying is just like, well, you have to be in LA to make it, and
Right.
and I that's why I asked, were you native there, because you went at some point, and I think that counts for something. And again, that's not something that is taken into account in these types of conversations.
It is so much easier. Here's the big thing. I think that like you can be so good at something, but we make so much stuff. like our thing is at least 3 hours.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's one chapter of it. Imagine if like someone's like, you haven't seen Game of Thrones? You're gonna love it. The first season's great. Hey, really quick, each episode is 3 hours. And you're gonna really need to keep a pretty detailed list of who knows who and what's going on, and like, it's gonna be hard to just like hop off and hop back on, in a way. So I do think that like a huge element is people getting to know you, who you are, and what you care about.
Yeah.
And you're not coming into any show, especially something that's like we're filming right now and then we're popping off and doing it. You don't really know what's going to happen. And it's to me it's such refined improv, and that's what I love so much is we've got those mechanics to kind of like know where the walls are, and the rest is our playground. And I think that there is I'll be completely honest, I think there's a huge benefit to getting to just know people and know their personalities and get a sense of who they are as artists. In in the same way that I feel personally very cut off from like the comedy scenes in Chicago and New York because I'm just not there, and which is tough, and I probably should at some point move to Chicago. So
I mean, they're still angry. I can tell you that.
but yeah, I mean these are huge practical things, and but I will say sort of something that is maybe unfair on some level, because I think the question is coming from a direction, and I don't mean to like fully monk grab that missile and chuck it into a totally different direction, but like it's also a thing of like there is no throne, if that makes sense. So like it's so nice to get to do something that people like and that has some reach, that you're able to get a message out there. And for me, a big one that I've gotten back, which is huge, is the energy that people come to me with, the Ace representation on Faye and Flowers.
Yeah.
Which is so potent, it turns out. My roommate got a sticker and put it on my door.
And you got a crystal out of it.
And I got a crystal. Yeah, the branding is, we're doing all right. We're doing all right.
We love a strong brand.
But like it's like that's been so like I can't explain like how that feels to have folks just approach you and say like, by the way, I just want to say that was wonderful, and to get to do that because for the reason of I grew up with things that influenced me and affected my life in such positive ways. Every PBS, like if I met anyone who worked on Arthur, I would have a meltdown. I got a chance to nerd out to these people who run like a local zoo in my like hometown that like rescues animals, and it's just a tiny little zoo. But I was like, hey, thank you for my childhood. I one time was acknowledged by when we were doing a Two Broke Geeks video, acknowledged by the San Jose library system, and they were just like, thanks for the shout out. And I was like, no, thank you. No, you don't understand. Thank you. You're the library. Like, I owe you everything. I watched Buffy because you had the DVDs. Like, and so I think that it's really wonderful to participate in that cycle. And like I like to call it like a wheel is turning, and every so often you get to feel like you either receive something for the wheel, or if you're lucky you get to push the wheel a little bit and put something out there, and then you would just wake up the next morning, if that makes sense. And I'm still someone who's like, I gotta figure out what I'm gonna do to pay bills. Like, and you're kind of back to it. And I do think that there is like, I just want to like attack sort of that fallacy of just like you make it like singing in the rain sort of stuff. Like, it's so wonderful to get to meet people, and then you're like, these are people. Like, these are just people I get to, that share the vocabulary, and there is sort of like no throne. And my favorite interactions, like I was just at Comic-Con for a little bit, just people coming up and talking about what they're doing and why they like doing what they're doing, and then talk about like their relationships in real life, what they're into, their hobbies and stuff. I'm like, that to me is the winning. And if you're doing that with anyone, whether it's Brennan Lee Mulligan or your close friends at your table, you've won. Like, exactly. And so, like, to me, and I understand there's finances and other stuff that come into things, so that doesn't address that. But if you're playing a game with people you like, and if you like yourself at the table, you've won. and you're in, baby. Like, there's nothing better than that.
Might I reinterpret that in a way, and you can let me know if I'm off or on with that interpretation? Mm-hmm. If you do it for the love of the game and not for whatever financial rewards that you think that you'll get, then you're more likely to end up where you're trying to go. But if you're simply doing it for the financial rewards that you're imagining without any details about what you're expecting, then you're bound to be disappointed.
I will say I've been very fortunate to get to hang out with some of my favorite storytellers and comedians. I'm so inspired and humbled by all of it. Genuinely, it's been life changing, and it's what I want to do with all of my time. And there also are people who have made a really good financially stable life out of this.
Yeah.
I'm not.
No.
So like, hey, if you're looking for a company in the line of just like, how do I how do I turn this into a job? How do I keep money going? Yeah, hey, let me know when you figure that out.
You triggered a memory. I've met my comedy hero once, but I met him at the wrong time.
Let's go.
Um,
If you tell me something that you contributed to Mulaney
no,
making
no.
life choices, I'll be like, we gotta talk. What is going on here?
So there are these DIY. Well, there were before the Pandarosa. There are these DIY shows where like people in Chicago would just decide my apartment is now a venue. Come
Yes.
practice and perform.
Mm-hmm.
And I would go and do a lot of those shows. But I was doing them at the time musically and not for my stand up. But there were shows where it's just like we're gonna have 3 local musicians and then 3 local stand ups, and whatever. And you never knew who was coming. It could be it could be anybody. So I go and do my set, my music, and we're still waiting for the second comedian. And then the door opens and I see everybody flock to the door. And
Oh, I can't wait for this.
it's fucking Hannibal Buress. Now, what's important to know is this was like right after the worst breakup I had ever been through in my life.
Uh-huh.
And so, like, because he was running late, I got my set got to go on a little extra, and so I just did a few more of my songs, all of which were breakup songs. So finally, it's over. It's his time to go on. He does his set, and then he's just kind of mingling with the crowds. And I'm like, I'm talking to him, and he looks at me, he goes, "Hey man, you real sad." And it just was like, "Thank you."
And you're like, my work here is done. Poochie died on the way back to his home planet.
Be careful when you meet the people you admire.
Sometimes they'll think you're real sad.
Let me see if I can fold this into like a 30-second elevator situation. But like, I'm a huge Buffy fan. Like, I really love. I mean, Sarah, one of the best actors on television. My goodness, just such good storytelling, and some of the best TV writers like Marty Knox and Jane Espenson. And I found out that Jane Espenson was at WonderCon, and Bay Area kid, right? We're going up, and I'm just like, this is amazing. We get some discount tickets because we all dressed up as characters we did cosplay. The show we did cosplay from, Heroes. Not cosplay. What we did was we all got name tags and we just wrote down what characters we were, and that's it, because it was Heroes. You know, it was nothing.
Tyler was the GOAT.
I'm not the villain. You've been the villain the whole time.
The whole time.
Damn, that's cold. That's cold. He just got off the set of Gilmore Girls. Don't do this to him.
Poor Milo.
little Stallone, as I called him.
Little Stallone.
Every time he talked, there was one of these stuff.
Just pull me in, Dad. And then so I meet Jane, and I'm just like, this is amazing. You're such an inspiring writer. The way that you treat story is so great, because you find a way to come up with Twilight Zone level episodes, and they're all character driven. You know, we chat for a little bit, and I was a high schooler, and so I was just like, this is wonderful, thank you. And Jane's like, just keep going. Here's my best advice, just keep going. Do what you do, find what you love, and just keep going. And there's nothing better than that. And I was like, thank you so much. This is the greatest interaction I've ever had in my life. Signed a Buffy poster. We get back on the train, because we're, high schoolers, we're taking the train back. I open the posters, I'm bragging to my friends. I go, like, check it out. Jane Espenson signed this to me. And they go, no, dog. Jane Espenson signed that to Mohinder Suresh. And I look, it says, to Mohinder. It's my name tag. Because it's the worst cosplay.
Yep. Oh.
And so, Years later, she comes to talk about college, and I just bring like the box set of season 6, which was the first box set of anything I ever bought. And I was like, "Hey, this happened years ago at WonderCon," and she went, "Oh, I never saw Heroes." I was like, "Okay, well, that's not my name anyway. Can you sign this now?"
Vindication, at least.
Oh,
Back, you
You
brought
got
back
in.
home.
It took 5 years. It took 5 years, but we got there.
well done. Well done.
So if anyone wants a limited edition Buffy poster signed to Mohinder Suresh, let me know.
Oh, but you know, like that's kind of funny to bringing us back to Heroes, a show that was murdered because again people weren't paying their rights and thought we could do it without them. And season 2 and 3 is testament to the fact that no, you can't. You cannot.
No.
I heard, is this breaking NDA? But it's not mine. I heard that on the show, the showrunner didn't know that much about comic books, and was like, okay, what if there's a guy who can control metal? And they're like,
I heard
that's someone in the X-Men universe who, straight up Magneto. Okay, what about someone who can turn into metal?
Colossus. My God.
I mean, you can cycle through them, or it would be shorter for us to tell you what hasn't happened yet. Like,
I mean, and that's funny because the characters that they had also already existed. Like the cop was Professor Xavier, except weaker. Peter Petrelli is basically Sync or Rogue.
Yep, you have a cheerleader who is Wolverine.
Yeah,
Sans claws, like
a clawless Wolverine.
a clawless Wolverine. And I'm always saying, give her claws. Let her have claws.
Yeah, let's just go full tilt cheerleader Wolverine.
And then she could do them in the routines. Like I don't know. Like I just really
B-U-B buff. Like I'm ready for it.
I'm the best at what I do.
But what I do, is it really nice? Yeah.
You can take it as official canon that Buffy the Vampire Slayer exists in the Heroes universe.
I mean, we have a piece that makes it real.
We've got it. We've got it.
Oh, God. All right, we have some first half questions that we had so much fun that I have not gotten around to asking you. So I'm going to ask you the one that could potentially hurt me the most. But here we go.
Let's do this.
In the TTRPG space, there is a war between those of us who see these as storytelling devices that you roll, you see the results, and you continue telling the story. However, there are others that see these as the forbidden candy to be put into one's mouth and crunched. I am aware that there are edible candy dice, but they say that is crunching. They want to crunch.
Yes.
I am part of the side that says that is a dental and a choking hazard. We just got out of a pandemic. These are things that you pass around to your friends. It's a germ hazard. Don't do that. And then there are others that are just like, we do what we want to do. We're gonna crunch, and that's just the way of it. And then there are what I consider cowards that are just like, well, as long as you're responsible. I don't think you can do something that's inherently irresponsible responsibly, but that's just me. Now, I'd be lying if I said that these were the only 3 groups, but these are the 3 main ones. There are tons of subgroups. There's the Kappa Let Them Die group. There's the Law in Jaw, which says you can crunch or die, but you have to get a law degree first. There's just a bunch.
More Shotty just threw all of the hashtags in chat.
Yes. It's a lot. So, Omar, I have to ask you, what side of this conflict do you find yourself on? Are you crotch crew? Are you stop the crotch? Or are you crotch responsibly? Or are you a side all your own?
I know that, like, because this is the one that could end my career, right? Like this.
To be fair, I can tell you we've got quite a few people on all sides of this.
Wonderful.
Matt Mercer,
Mhm.
he chose correctly. He is
Mhm.
on the side of Stop the Crunch,
Mhm. Mhm.
alongside me, B, Dave, and a few others.
Mhm. Mhm.
Then there are the cowards, crunch responsibly, like Anita and
Mhm.
Brinley Mulligan and the like. And then there are those who choose to crunch, and I refuse to remember the names.
Also, don't forget about the crunch toots, who
Yeah,
uh
they
will
don't
crunch
like
at a
crunching, but $20 is
$20.
$20.
Gosh, here's the thing: $20 is $20 though. Like that's a crisp bill.
Yeah, but like healthcare is so expensive that $20 isn't even gonna get a high from the doctors. You get to
Yeah,
wait in the waiting room for $20.
it's a gamble. It's for sure a gamble. um, I will say I have been a convention kid since I think my freshman year of high school. Like a full on, I used to be one of the kids with a big backpack and my list. It wasn't a list, it was a grid that was split up then into like subgrids of just like, I did get that Fantastic Four, but there's a variant out there that I do want to pick up and I want to do this. I've been in the convention space longer than I would probably like to really take time to think about, especially if Haunted Mansion was 20 years ago. So,
Oh,
so to me, the idea of because I think dice are, and I'm not gonna roll someone else's dice, but I do think that dice I associate them with convention tables, and so
mm.
to me, it's honestly some of them I don't even want to touch. Like I would like to introduce another layer on top of it. I've got safety dice. But that's it. Like the government officials in ET that are all like in like the suits. I think that's how I'm gonna come at this. I want to establish a new pillar of uh
Dice repulsed.
dice repulsed. Yeah, yeah. We have the technology for digital. We're staying clean. We're
Yeah,
staying clean.
I'm gonna put that in the Stop the Crotch camp.
Yeah. It's stop the crunch, and every so often we go a little too far and we go stop the clack. And you all have to pull us back and be like, this is too much.
Sometimes you gotta roll the dice. Physically roll the dice.
We have been
Oh,
given the privilege of clacking, and look at what we've done with it.
Let me give you a quick history lesson. 1901, we started clacking dice. Shortly after, the Hindenburg. I'm just saying. I'm just
No,
saying.
you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Dungeons and
I'm
Dragons came out in the 70s. You know what else came out after that?
racism.
Countless national tragedies.
Countless.
Countless.
Coincidence?
Countless. Countless. You run that percentile die, you're still not even close.
Yeah.
You're still not even close.
Stop the clack. I like it. I feel bad because the next questions are like usually like punishment questions for anybody that pick Stop the Crunch. So I'm gonna pick the merciful question
Here we
first, which
go.
is Omar, you are God Emperor of the TTRPG space. You snap your fingers, and any three things that you wish to have happen immediately. What would you
Oh.
choose to do?
Okay. 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 Um, Interesting. I wonder if I'm going to approach this from a little bit more of an ambiguous situation. So let me know if you need me to get a little bit more mechanically close. One, uh, everyone understands how to implement safety rules.
Yeah.
And I'll fold another one in this first one. Everyone knows why we're having those and how to implement them. Um, that would be, I think, first and foremost, because like to me, that's improved so much of my playing. Where the comfort you feel at a table after you all discuss something is amazing. For Daisy Quest, we had like a 4 hour session zero because Jasmine's like, we're gonna go to some places, and we're gonna go there. How do y'all want to do it? Like, how do we want to approach it? Like, what are the buttons we can push and what are the buttons that we can't? And it was such a beautiful experience. So I would say that. Let's see. Um, Rangers get a special. Rangers all come with a feat, and that feat is you describe how cool you look. I've had lots of conversations lately about how like why play a ranger when there's a druid, and
Right.
I think the difference is druids are the coolest. Like you look up druid art and you're like, oh, so rad. Rangers need this. We all need the Aragorn pushing the two doors open. You know what I mean? And so you come with I don't know if it would be anything mechanical like a charisma bonus, but like all Rangers just come with a lot of heat.
No,
That
I
would be-
feel that.
And
I've always considered like the druid be like for your clerics you have clerics and then paladin.
Mhm.
I consider druid and ranger being like that same relationship,
yeah,
but I don't feel like they nailed it like they did with paladin.
yes, I completely agree. So let's add some spice.
Yeah, let's add some spice to it.
Let's add a little heat. And let's see. And I get a third one. I snap my finger and this stuff happens. You know what? Let's do this. I don't know what term we have yet. Okay. I don't know exactly like what we call this, but a 19 does something. If you roll a
An
19,
almost crit.
it almost crit, where it's just like you're almost there, champ.
In
Whatever you're
Cypher
trying to-
system, a 19 actually does something. So a 20 is a success with a major boon, and a 19 is a success with a minor boon.
That's it. How many people on this show have snapped their fingers and it's because it's been real? That to me is the power of this conversation. This is amazing.
There we go. Yeah, there it is, 19. So, or if you're doing it on weapon attack, it's a 20 is 4 additional points of damage, a 19 is 3 additional points of damage, and a minor
Amazing.
effect. And an 18 is 2 additional points of damage, and a 17 is 1 additional point of damage.
Honestly, now that you're mentioning it, I wouldn't mind more special numbers. Meaning like
More special numbers.
20, you roll a 20, something happens.
Yeah.
You roll a 1, something happens. I would love for a 10 to be like something can happen
Yeah.
if you're willing to take.
What are you
Like a devil's
bargaining?
bargain.
Yeah,
Yes.
10 would be the devil's bargain.
Yes. Or maybe like you choose a number. Like also at the beginning of any game, you get to
Like an
choose like
ante?
a number that's your number.
So that
Yeah.
actually exists in Pathfinder. It's called Lucky Number. It's a spell, I believe, where you get to call out a number, and anytime you roll that number, it triggers something.
Yo, I was in Jake's Pathfinder 2 game. I haven't played 2 since the playtest, and I was just like, this is so much fun.
It's so good. I'm so excited to play.
So much fun. Okay, well, so I love this like number system. Since we kind of workshop that, I'm just gonna throw now one wild one out there, and then we can just keep going. I want a D5. I just want a D5. Mathematicians, I'll let you figure that out. I'll let you work-
So over at Geeky Teas,
Mhm.
over in Burbank,
Mhm.
they have a tray full of what I call abomination dice.
Let's go. Yeah.
Where it's like D13s,
Yeah, they have odd number dice there.
D17s.
I think
Like
there's a
I'm
D5
sure
now,
that,
too.
yeah, there is a D5.
Yeah, Darby
and
would
I-
grab
and I-
it.
I hate it.
Okay.
I hate it so much.
I'm down the street, so I'm going after this.
Go to Geeky go say hi to Darby. I think she's working today.
You know that scene.
I 100% am doing this. I'm putting it in my agenda right now.
You know that scene in Underworld where like the elder vampire sees the werewolf vampire for the first time and just goes, abomination. Like every time I see that tray, that's what I think in my head. Like this can't exist.
My friend Dale, who is hanging out with us this morning, Dale Kingsmill of Kingsmill fame. We have this thing. It was from a This American Life story where it ended with just this person who asked these 2 firefighters to help with something, and it resulted in so much chaos. And she just went, "I just can't thank you for this." You didn't do anything wrong, but I just can't thank you for this. And those dice, because I mean, also like how like I mean, as a GM, I 100% would be like, all right, here's a D5, roll it. I need you all to roll this D5, and I'm a proud owner of a D3, but but like it's wild to make something that just is not out there in the universe. Like that's when people when we in school try to explain like imaginary numbers, and it's just like they're not real numbers, and like but then what is it? And it's like this is honestly it would take so long to get into it. These are what these dice are to us.
Yes.
Where it's just like this is never a thing.
It was like an affront
Why
to
does
God.
a D13 exist?
So we've got another. We've got a. I'm not acknowledging this anymore. Abomination.
Abomination.
Our next question is: you get to drain the essence of an IP and give it to another IP. So if you wanted to, you could drain all like the popularity,
Yeah.
the funding, all
Okay.
of it from like Harry Potter and give it to I don't know Arthur. So like John Williams would now do the Arthur theme, so it'd be fucking epic.
DW's Q is unbeatable.
So what IP is getting drained and what IP is getting the benefit of that draining?
I'll be okay. I want to have a real fun, just like, ooh, what a creative answer. But the thing is, I have an answer.
Yeah.
So like, and I'm going through my head. I'm like, there's a lot of fun ones that you could throw out there where I'm just like, yeah, let's take the Fast and the Furious energy and put it into Beast Wars, and I want I want them all to be like, we're family, and just like the idea of Rat Trap being like, we got this, we're all in. Like but to actually answer your question, I do want to take the essence from Harry Potter. I do.
Yes.
And I will. And I want to put it into Animorphs.
Yes.
This is the right answer. Like
It's always been the right answer.
I think we're done with that question. I think we can retire
it. It's done. Well,
I need
hang
some
up in the
people to-
rafters.
Because they were like, yeah, like in Harry Potter, it's like, war's bad. It's like, well, that person's bad. We'll be stronger and we'll always win or whatever. Honestly, it's hard to track. And you could at me if you disagree. We'll have that conversation. But like, it's like you're a chosen kid or whatever. You're in this position where it's just like, yeah, but you're a general then. You know what I mean? Like, there's no stake on you. So like, you don't understand. You can't understand that. Whereas Animorphs is just like, hey, war's horrible. And this alien crash lands is like, kids, I'm sorry, man. And you're like, I wonder what that dude's story is. And you go back and you find out and you're like,
He's a piece
oh,
of trash.
God.
No, Fangus
Oh,
piece of
God.
trash.
Yep.
Listen,
It's-
I haven't read Animorphs. My
Damn.
love for it comes secondhand from my partner here, who, as you can tell, is hyped.
The whole reason for the Yerk invasion is because the Andalites were trash.
Yep.
Because the Yerks were like, seriously, we are stuck in these slug forms and we can only inhabit the hosts of other people and we don't like subverting their will. Please, can you give us your technology so that we can transform and just become something? Anything else but what we are. We hate what we are. Please fix this. And they're like, nah.
Yep. It's baked in from the first page when Jake goes, you probably don't care who I am. Of course we care. Go off. It's so good. And then you get to the Hork-Bajir Chronicles and you're just like, everyone is affected.
They're beautiful herbivores. They were so
Ugh.
peaceful. The blades on their arms are used to cut bark
Yep.
from trees.
Yep. Because when you first hear about them, you're like, these work. Anyway, I don't want to ruin
Yeah.
it. You're going to love it.
No,
Animorphs.
I just know that there's one character who like ends up becoming almost like a warmongering veteran that's just like, fucking
Yeah,
just
that's
send me in, I'm trying to die. Like, you know?
And she's
Yep.
like a preppy cheerleader at the beginning.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's just like, all right, everyone fall in line. Like by the end, it's just like, we gotta go. They go through time.
Mm-hmm.
It's also like Rachel dies for a little bit. Do you remember that? And just
Yeah.
like a little throwaway moment. And then Rachel wakes up and it's just like, the animal world was starting to like be like, all right, this is like a dead animal, and had to be like go through that. It's just so good.
Ah,
Yeah, somebody described Rachel to me as just like at some point she's fought so much she's just looking for someone worthy to take her out. I'm like,
Yep.
what the fuck? This is a children's book.
Yep.
this is for kids.
No, I like that answer. And here's the final question, and then we can go ahead and take our break. You get to play with any 5 people that are alive right now.
Mhm.
You get to choose. You get to choose. Not break. We can wrap it up for the day. But you get to choose who the GM is and what system you're playing. What 5 people are you playing with? You don't count towards the 5.
Oh my goodness, we have to go. Okay. Um, okay. Okay. Okay, let me. Can I put this framing on it? This is I get to absorb this story. I get to enjoy it, right?
Mm-hmm. You do have to be at the table though, as a player.
And I don't. Oh,
Or as a GM.
dream come true. Okay, let me do this. Okay. Head of the table, be Zelda.
Yes.
Yeah.
And love a busy bee. I'm trying to think of what system, because you know what? Okay, we're doing Thirsty Sword Lesbians.
Yeah.
We're doing because I feel like we got to do a one shot together. I want a campaign. I want us to really get in this. Okay, so at the table, we've got, let's count them, Sam Delev, the sharpest mind I've ever interacted with in my entire life. We've got Caitlin Bruder, the biggest heart and a powerhouse of creativity. I'm throwing Dale Kingsmill in there. Dale is every so often we just like when we're on road trips for fun, we just come up with game systems. And I'm just like, what if it's this premise? And then Dale's like, here's how it would work. So getting that and like, because I'm also just like, what is the Sailor Moon? Like, who are the Sailor Scouts? This is how I'm approaching this. Okay, I want to throw Serena Marie in there.
Yeah.
Talk about another just beautiful beating heart. And then I've got one more spot, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, buddy, Bria Iyengar.
Yeah.
At this table,
That's a clutch table.
That's a clutch table.
it's just the folks who
the feels that table's gonna have. Oh,
it's all these players have the ability. All these players and GMs have the ability to. You feel the pinpricks of the tapestry. You know what I mean? And you get a glance behind the scenes, and like I'll talk endlessly about this, especially with Sam. Like you watch maths happen, and they'll just be like, "Huh." Microphone goes off. Stares for a second, comes back, and is like, "Okay, so I've reinvented the way that superpowers work."
And I
And
made it
you're like-
scientifically accurate.
I mean, it's scientifically accurate, but the thing is, in order to generate this amount of energy, it has to come from a strong emotion because the human brain does this, and this is your nervous reaction, which justifies how this is going. But in order for that to happen, I'm going to need, like, it requires someone to show either affection or anger, and then you have Caitlin Bruder swing in, and it's just like, it won't be anger. And then gives like a hug, and then they're just like Super Saiyan charging, and you're just like, what's happening? And you're just like ugly crying. So yeah, that's I think, yeah.
everybody watch Powerful.
Yeah. Just off the top, I'm just like, if we had a brunch spot, we could all just like pop into and do this. That would be, I would just love it. I would just have such a good time at that table, and I would just want to cry with my friends.
Caitlin's ugly crying in chat right now, so.
I'm telling you, that is a table that I'm gonna try to sneak my way into. But we are running out of time here, so there's one last thing I want to ask you really quickly here,
Mm-hmm.
and then we'll let you go. We like to end with the community spotlight.
Mm-hmm.
So if there's anybody else that you feel like the community should show some love to, anybody that has made this space feel exceptionally welcoming for you, this is where we give you a chance to shout them out.
My goodness. Oh, there's so many folks that I want to gosh, it really is just so many people to name because it's just such a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful space where I've gotten the chance to meet so many lovely people. Um, you know what? I do want to give a big shout out to uh, Rick Budd, who I know this is making it so power play specific, but um, it is we raised over like $3,000 for the emergency fund in an industry that can also like churn your bones into dust. And it's tough, and we're all trying to like make a living and do stuff, and Rick is constantly in it, and was the first when we were out. Rick was just like, we got to do something, we have to do something, and he will never accept credit. He doesn't want any spotlight. He hisses like like the man himself, Morbius. When like a helicopter is suddenly like going, that's like the reaction he has where he's like never, and then disappears into the night. But the respect that he has for his players and the way that he brings people together, it is truly community building. And what I love is that he is someone who could have every single opportunity and right to hop in and be like, look at me, here's what I'm doing. And a lot of people do that.
Yeah.
Instead, he is truly a community builder where he puts together very consciously a table of folks who otherwise wouldn't get a stab at stuff, and then showcases them. It's not just, oh, go play a tiefling and we're throwing you out there. He treats it with love, and he promotes people endlessly. If you're ever on any of his shows, you will get retweeted by 5 different Twitter accounts that he is just running. Like one of those guys that were like on Pokemon Go on the bike, and they were just constantly like hitting everything. So I do want to give a heartfelt shout out to Rick as someone who is in this space and is just doing good, genuinely doing good, and is not like making $1 million from it or anything. Is just in the trenches and is just doing good.
Hell yeah. Well, again, this has been fantastic. Thank you so much for coming by. I am going to bully you to try and get you back here because this
I
has
was
been
about to
amazing.
ask though. You don't have to bully me. I was about to beg.
It's just tradition to say I'm bullying.
Grovel.
And also, Rick, we're coming for you, buddy. We're gonna give you some love. Thank you again. Please enjoy your Comic-Con. Stay safe out there. And
Thank you.
Let the people know where they can find you. I should probably do my outro first. Is that how we do it? I don't remember.
That's fine. I'm Anita. You can find me at Rap Anita or at Critical Misses. I'm a TTRPG streamer, graphic designer, producer, and cat mom about the space. And if you're coming to Gen Con, we're going to be doing Morning Ritual live. So stop by. We got tickets available for it still.
Yep. Oh,
I'll be there.
Hell yeah. And I'm Noir. I go by He There. You can find me all over the internet as the Noir Nigga. That's Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Hive, Threads, the whole thing, all of them. We're in the war of 5 Twitters right now. And yeah, that's it. And our lovely guest.
I'm Omar Najam. You can find me on Twitter while that ship is still sailing at Omar Najam and Omar Najam Film on Instagram. And who knows what other platforms I'll pop up on and do things on. But in general, I just want to say a huge... I mean, I wish I could give you both a shout out. I do feel like you would just bat that right back in the community shout out. But like, thank you both for doing what you do. Like, I'm such a fan, and it's just so lovely. And this is what it is, like getting to meet good people who just make you feel like nourished after a conversation. There's nothing better there's nothing better at all. I don't know what it's like to be like a hedge fund manager. I can't even imagine being around that energy. I get to be around the opposite. This is so beautiful. You both have just such good presence. So thank you.
Aw.
This has been such a wonderful time.
Well, we thank you
Thank
so
you.
much again, and thank you all for so much for stopping by and hanging out with us. Omar, you included. But we're gonna head out of here. We're gonna go raid our good friend Sam DeLev. DeLevely is playing some Horizon Forbidden West. Thank you again so much for stopping by and hanging out with us today. But until next time, the ritual has concluded. Bye, everybody.